Poor man didn't pull a nails, hammer, block of wood. Works alright for the, sometimes for a nasty little dent. It was punched in there and there was a couple of little dents there, so works quite good for shitty little situations like that where you don't have something and you can't get access in behind. Clean up end of a nail, preferably a steel one, not a galvanised one, but it does the same trick. Weld the nail on there and get a claw hammer and a bit of wood and just pull it out if you can, or attach a Kuston sort of slide hammer on, but there I can put a piece of 4x2 against the door opening and just lever it out until we get close, and then we'll just cut them off and grind it up, and if somewhere else I need to pull it out a little bit more, I can weld it back on again. But works quite good, especially if you don't have one. Alright, so I got these filler panels started, so I just trimmed them out of just a couple bits of the scrap that were over there. So I got them started tacked in, so I just got to finish welding them in. And that's kind of it, basically, apart from pulling those couple of dents out and whatever, and just cleaning up a bit of shit along here. That's kind of all I've done in the meantime. Like, I cut those pieces out, cut them to fit, ground them up in the back, sprayed some weld through primer on them, and just go from there, basically. That's kind of where we're at the moment. Still waiting on this shit to dry. It'll probably be tomorrow before that's completely dry. You can see it running down the panel there now. But yeah, and then I'll better clean that up and whatever, and we can carry on sanding here. And I'll have to check out the bottoms of these guards and just see what's going on there. And on the other side, I haven't looked at that yet. That'll be tomorrow's job, probably. Yeah, I'll carry on here. Keep welding here, and yeah, try and get this stuff in. Right, well, I'm not quite sure what to do here. Obviously I've got that one tacked in and I've got this one tacked in. The wiring actually runs down through there. I tried to push it back out of the road and hook it back so it wasn't near in here. The wiring sort of runs down through here. It's sort of quite a wee way away from here, but it's quite close here because of the little tabs and brackets. But I tried to move it back out of the road before I welded this in, but when I was coming up here I could smell the frickin' wiring. So I think I'm going to have to cut that back out and try and see if I can do something else to get it back out of the road, and then whether I just even maybe split it open and pull it back and then try and push it out of the road or something. I don't know. A pain in the ass. And I might have to do the same on there and just make sure that it's staying out of the road. I don't want to fucking get it all done and get it all painted and then put it back together and then, hook the battery back up, and then all of a sudden, the fucking thing goes on fire. So yeah, that's a bit of a dilemma. Yeah, I was looking at, oh shit, that's close, and I tried to move it back out of the road so it would stay out of the road, if you know what I mean. So it was like sort of back and behind here, an inch or two, sort of away from as much as I could get it away. But it's obviously just with mucking around and whatever and banging and stuff, it's obviously might have rattled forward again and got close to where the heat is, because I could smell it when I was coming up here. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to have to dig into there, and I better cut that off or whatever and get into there and check too, and just make sure it's still out of the fucking road. Right, so just look at the wiring. It's okay. Well, I remember why I didn't zip tie it back now, because there's nowhere to fucking zip tie it back to. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is actually put a zip tie around it, and where the bolt is, where the bumper used to go onto, so if I can poke the end of the zip tie through there if I can, and then I might just pull it back and clip a pair of like vice grips or something onto it until I'm finished welding. Because you can pull it back like way out of the right. And I remember I sort of like pushed it back, but it obviously it's slowly, with banging and whatever, it's just slowly come back, and it sat back in here. It was getting hot because it was sitting back down there again. So if I put a zip tie around it, if I can, and poke it back through that hole, and then hang I put a pair of vice grips on the end of this, so it pulls it back out of the road, and then I can just let the vice grips go. In fact, it comes back in there and it's just got a one zip tie rattling around there. It's not going to hurt it. That's the only thing I can kind of think to do, if you know what I mean. And then obviously we'll have to try and do that on this side as well. Pain the fucking ass, but anyway, it is what it is. I might end up actually cutting this back off and just making a new piece. It is a pain. But yeah, fortunately it hasn't done any damage. It's only just started mounting the plastic, and I was obviously already a little bit rubbed in there. I didn't look too hard before. It's just started to mount the frickin' what's left of a bit of the plastic around it. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do, just to try and get it back out of the road until I'm finished welding, and then whatever, and then it won't matter so much. Right, I got that one sorted, so I cut that off completely, made a new patch, welded that in, and glassed it up. And where I was pulling some dents out of that, I broke through in a couple of wee spots, so I had to weld a couple of holes when I was taking the nails back off. Just happened to, I did cut through them, but I must have blown a bit of a hole in there, so I had to take up a couple of holes. So I put a little bit of glass filler over that too. And I pulled this back, and that cable was actually sitting back against the back, so it's fine. I probably could have just carried on welding that one up. So what I'll do is I think I'll just slowly push it back and tack it, and then hopefully you don't end up with too much of bend it, but we'll probably just put a little bit of glass filler over it as well. I don't want to have to frickin' make another patch. But I think if I just hold it back and re-tack it and just slowly hammer it back, it'll come back reasonably well, and by the time I put a scooch of filler over it, it's not going to matter much. So yeah, so that'll be those closed over, and then once I knock sort of like the little bit of top off, and that helps seal up the joints, and then I can put some normal filler over it, and we can blend it on. I was going to fill this hole, but I think I'm just going to leave it alone. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. So yeah, fortunately, yeah, managed to pull that back, put a zip tie, poke it down through that hole that you can see in there. You can see that body hole there, hopefully that one. Poke the zip tie back down through there, and then pulled that one way back, load it up, and then I just let it go again. Just had a pair of vice grips just hanging off it, just so it was holding that cable back. So that should be fine now. And I wrapped a bit of tape, a couple lots of tape around it, just to make sure it doesn't rub, give it half a chance of, again, for rubbing through anywhere. So yeah, should be good. So I'll just get this welded on now, and we'll carry on. Righty, so I've got that patch in now and glassed up. I didn't really film it because the light from behind is pretty bright, so kind of made it awkward to video. I did try a couple of times, but it's all welded up and glassed up now, so later we'll come along and knock that down, and then we'll put a normal scooch of body filler over, and we'll see here there's some where the spot weld, some of the spot welds are from, and behind we'll rough all that up too, and we'll not glass it, put some body filler along there and clean that all up. Yeah, and at some point down here we'll start sanding down here. You can actually see here, it looks like it's a bit wavy or wonky or something there. So we'll start blocking that out, and we'll see what we need to do there shortly. I'll start cleaning up. I'll have a sort out here. Now that I've got this welded up, I've still got to do some welding around the other side, and we need to have a look at the bottom here and just make sure that's not rotten as well. But yeah, we'll start cleaning up where I'll put that rust converter in the other day, and here, because now it's nice and dry. And we'll give this a good clean up, and then we can obviously prep that. But yeah, we'll need to sand all this back, and obviously do some finishing work here, and whatever. We'll tape that up, just so it's not going to end up covered in shit. And probably should flick the I won't worry about flicking the fuel cap on. We can sand that back and put it on before we paint, but we'll just make sure it hasn't gone unlevel or anything if we have to put in extra little bit of filler or something through here. Hopefully we don't have to do too much, just because There's an odd weird spot here. I'm just not really sure what's going on. I think it's from when they welded in here and it might have distorted a little bit. But we'll work it out as we start blocking it out. And obviously the same on the other side. But yeah, I'll get this shit out of the road now. And at least we can clean all that up. And also we'll probably whip the back wheels off and have a good look around the wheels. Just make sure there's nothing sinister going on behind there. And yeah, have a look at that hole. And also yeah, check the other pieces out and just make sure there's nothing else going on. Have a clean up in there. And we can tackle this. And then I think the missus is going to come around tomorrow and she's going to start sanding all the jams for me and inside the doors and whatever else. So yeah, that'll be a good help. So really it shouldn't take me too much longer to get things sorted, because it shouldn't take too long to flatten out that back piece with a little bit of body filler, and hopefully the back guards don't take too much. Like this is basically ready to go. It just needs a wee bit of shape and probably extra a little bit of filler on it, and then just a matter of just finding out what's going on down here and probably just putting a wee smear in somewhere just to level it back out, and then hopefully a few coats of hardboard will block that out. But yeah, the rest of it, and we've got to finish the roof and finish shaping this piece back in where I dug into, because it looked a bit weird earlier on. But I've mainly sort of filled it back up. It just needs a bit of shaping. But yeah, and we've got to knock that dent out of there and fill the hole on the floor. But yeah, for the main body wise, we could probably paint it and then deal with that afterwards, but I'm not going to. But you know what I mean, like it won't take too much to get sorted. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what's going on here. This outside doesn't actually look that bad. It just looks like it's sunken in here for some weird reason, or it's the body line or whatever it is. It just looks weird. I don't know. But yeah, we might find when we sand it out, it just needs leveled off a little bit. But anyway, we will deal with that a wee bit later on. And obviously at some point we need to get it out and give it another good water blast, and give it a good dousing with that other cleaner stuff, and just get all the insides of the wheel arches all cleaned up, and then we can spray some shit down in here. I won't spray back onto where the door hinges are, but we'll spray back behind that, if you know what I mean. And then we can blow some colour in there and spray some black in there or whatever, just to help seal things up so it doesn't rust and isn't, can't flash rust down there and whatever anymore. Get that all treated. Anyway, I'll carry on. It's getting close to lunchtime, so I'll start getting this shit sorted out so you can have a fresh start after lunch. Right, so while I'm here, I'm going to pull these wheels off, obviously. So I've got a 21mm socket, and it's not an impact socket because I don't have one to fit this. I've got one in that. So I've actually undone 3 of these just by the bar. I think that's that one there I haven't touched. So we'll see if this will do it, It did. So I don't think it would do, because I did try one of the other ones and it didn't do it, but they were pretty freaking tight. I had to pull the handbrake on pretty tight and put it in gear just to try and help stop the wheels from slipping, because I don't want to put it back down the ground. But once you've broken them, like I've only just cracked these, so now, different that life easier. So I think at some point I will get a decent 1/2 inch version of this, but it did do one. Like I don't think if your wheel nuts weren't really heavily over torqued or anything silly like that, it might pull one, but who knows, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say I would, and I don't expect it to be honest. Now most of your wheel nuts, depending on the vehicle, are torqued up pretty tight, anywhere from probably 70 or 80 foot-pounds to 120, on the average car. But like obviously some other things, you know, are way tighter than that. But on the average car, they're probably about that. Just from memory from working in the tyre industry for years. I know some vehicles were pretty light, but like some vehicles, you know, were way up around 120 foot-pounds. Whatever that is in Newton meters, I can't remember, too long ago. But I haven't touched this side at all. Can you see there? Probably not. If I can try pipe it up high. That'll do. We'll see if this will move these. See if I'll move any of these, so I haven't touched any of these. It's going to take that one. The size marking so I can see if it's moving. No, it's not going to take that long. It's got a wee bit of grunt, like it's doing alright. Like I don't expect it to pull wheel nuts, but it is going to do it. Like I said, if they're not overly torqued, it will pull them. I'm quite surprised. I didn't expect it from a 3/8 drive. You know, like normally you'd be using a 1/2 inch drive rattle gun to do, you know, wheel nuts. Actually, I grabbed a ratchet. I don't think it's as strong, but we'll see if that'll pull. See if it might move the next one. Probably not, but you know, sort of try. So look. I haven't actually used this yet. Charge there. It says it's fully charged. So it says it's pretty close to fully charged. So was this one. Let's see if this will maybe move it. I don't expect it to, but you know what I mean. It's interesting to see. Definitely not. I didn't think so. But, and now if I just half crack that, it wasn't that tight. Move it down. Hey, not a bad little tool really, for what they are. Like, you can't expect too much out of a 12 volt 3/8 drive. But for just most nuts and bolts, they're going to do most things you want to do and just speed stuff up, even if you do have to crank a couple, you know. But if you just put stuff on and on, a bit like I'm doing, freaking awesome. I'm quite impressed. Like, I didn't think that would undo it, undo them, but it did get through, and it got one over there. So yeah, who knows? You know, if you had a bar with you, and you did have to break a couple, well, it is what it is, you know. Or at least if you had that, you know, if you crack it and then whip them off, you know, you're not just trying to, just makes it a little bit faster. And you know, if you get the car back down, you know, just rattle them up as tight as you can. When you get the car back down the ground, just give them a bit of a crack with the bar, and you're good to go again. That wouldn't be bad in the back of a car, you know, to maybe get you out of the, I wouldn't say get you out of the crap, but get you out of the weather faster. Right, now we've got the wheel off. We have a decent look in here. So I don't think this is actually going to be that bad. Like, it's obviously just, it was probably a little bit rotten there originally. Probably, you know, maybe from a mud flap or something like that. And when they've been screwing around with these back guards, it's probably just been a little bit rotten. So hopefully we can just get away with maybe a small patch in here to clean that up. But I will, probably not right now, but I'll jump around the other side. But I probably will just rip the paint off the bottom here, just to make sure it's solid. Everything else looks pretty good around here. Like it's pretty cleanly car. Like, we're lucky in New Zealand, we don't have the serious rust issues like these guys doing there, especially in the salt states, you know, like that use a lot of the salt on the roads. Why you guys fucking do that, I don't know. There's other ways to I wouldn't say get rid of the grit. I understand it because it frickin' obviously melts the snow and gets rid of it. But over here, if we do get decent dumps in like some of the ski areas and stuff like that, they just put grit on the roads. They just spray grit. Like, it makes everything dusty and dirty and shit, but it doesn't. And it does screw the paint up a bit, you know, it gets pretty sandblasted, but at least it doesn't rot away. You could drive a car around for 10 years and it, like, you don't look underneath and the thing's just, you know, falling to pieces. Like, the likelihood of, like, having, like, these will be all the original brake lines. Like, this is 40 years old, it's as clean as a whistle. Like, that's just what cars are like over here. Unless they've been on beaches and stuff like that, but if they've been reasonably well maintained, they just don't rot out like that. They used to, years ago. Like, you know, the 60s, 50s, 60s and 70s stuff did, and even the 80s stuff did. And like some of the 90s stuff did. But if they were looked after, they didn't. You know, like, it was more the vehicles that weren't looked after, or this early stuff that wasn't, you know, they didn't dip them very well, you know, to make sure that they didn't rot from the inside, you know, with moisture. You know, like, I think a lot of this sort of stuff by that stage was getting fairly well treated for rot. You know, they were dipped in big baths when they're, like, the shells were assembled and shit like that, so they had a lot of rust protection, but before that they weren't. They were pretty much just fucking bare metal welded together and then they're painted. And they rotted out from in between, but yeah, we'll clean that piece up. Go around that little side. Take me box with me. I did make that little frickin' low chair thing, but it's frickin' too low for me. I find it, this is like a few inches higher, probably about 4. No, I wouldn't say 4 inches higher. It's close to that. It's just a little bit more comfortable. Way down low. Yeah, this looks solid enough down here, so that's cool. I don't have to worry about that, but I will, again, just for peace of mind, I think I'll just clean the bottom section off where shit is likely to rot. I'm not going to clean the sills off unless I see anything that needs attention, but I will just rip the paint off the here and whatever, just make sure it's nothing, you know, nothing hidden, mainly. So yeah, that's cool. Alright, we'll carry on. We will carry on. That looks pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Righty. Right, so we got this cleaned up. We've ground our, well, got rid of all the excess shit that doesn't need to be there. Sprayed some rust treatment in there when I actually need to get some more of that. I've got a big container of it, but none of the spray cans, so, well, there's only a little bit left in that one. I made my patch, so I put a little bit of shape in that, put the bend in there for here, just a couple of shrinks in the shrinker stretcher, and it's basically ready to weld in there now with a little bit of finessing. Manipulation, that's the word I was trying to get out. So yeah, we just tack that in there and whatever. It doesn't fit 100% perfect there, but I'm not too panicked. I should better fill that. I made it a slightly heavier gauge so I can burn the weld into the slightly heavier gauge. And just, there needs a little bit of tweaking here and there just to get things to 100% line up, but we should better get that right in there. And then, yeah, a little bit of mud and should be good. So we'll start getting that ready to weld in. I think once we've got it welded in, we should be able to hammer that round there too. Once we've got it sort of burned in fairly well, if you know what I mean. So we'll get that, I'll get this edge cleaned up where that weld, well, not that weld through, but the other stuff's gone on there. And yeah, we'll get a welder back over in here, and we'll at least get it tacked in anyway, and we'll go from there. Right, so as you've seen for the last, I don't know, probably only a couple of minutes for you guys, but it's now 11 o'clock. I did have a sweep up in here before I started because they had the missus in here and she's been sanding inside to all the doors. Not so much dead in the centre because not too worried about that, but she's gone around in here and scuffed all the outsides of the, where it needs to be painted. She's only basically just started in here. She's just going to go home and organise some lunch and whatever, and then she might bring her boy back down later on and we can get into scuff the inside of this. And at least then all these panels are done except for this one because I haven't started it. Actually, I might get to do that. Bonnet, scuttle panel, whatever you want to frickin' call it. But she's done all the insides of these as well, which is really handy. Like, that's just saved me frickin', 2.5 hours work that I don't have to do, that I can spend on the outside of the car, and it just means quicker. And then eventually I'll get them to do around the insides of the door jambs and stuff as well. I'll help them as well, but it just makes a huge difference because it's something I don't have to do, and I can spend it in places that are, I wouldn't say more critical, but places that need my expertise, where this doesn't need my expertise to sand the inside of this. As long as it's had a good scuff up and clean up, and we can have to go around, and once we got this, give a good scuff up, I'll just run around with a brush and I'll just neutralise any of these little sort of bad rusty spots. We've sprayed a whole heap of that rust converter in there. We'll do that again before I paint. Just blow it back in there or whatever again. But yeah, well, I'm not painting in the next 24 hours or freaking anything like that. But at least if it's all scuffed up and cleaned up and rubbed back, it's ready for a coat of primer, and we can blow some colour around here. It's no biggie. Basically all I'll do is I'll just give this maybe 1 or 2 coats on the inside, and then it'll just get a light sand back with some 400, and they'll be good to go on that side of it anyway. So before I started waffling about that, so I blocked back the top parts of these guards, and done a wee bit in the wheel arches. So as you probably would have seen, I misted some guide coat on here to try and work out. Once I'd sort of got it blocked back reasonably hard, like its kit was coming back to steel, there was a spot here where it was in here that was, I could see was high. It was coming up with steel real quick. So I went around and hammered and dollied that a little bit, and actually ended up just knocking it down a little bit. And then when I sanded back over it, it ended up being the low piece. So just put a wee skim of filler in there. And it had quite a wave in here, but it's actually touching steel in here. So put a skim and filler. It'll probably actually need a bit because it's actually got it's got almost like this in it. It's not too bad. It's not horrendous, but I could see it even just looking at it before when it was shiny. So, hopefully maybe with another scrape over here, once we sort of starting to get it dialed in, we'll be able to see that. And I just put some filler back in here so I can just sand this smooth again and get it sort of dialed back in for putting the window rubber and everything back in, and it doesn't look weird. We'll have to build this up a little bit because they haven't freaking put much of a lip in here, down here. I'll compare it to the other side. And I've scraped it across here. This will need a bit more because this one was a bit sunken and I didn't replace that patch, but by the time I sort of pulled it back and made sure that everything was out of the road, which I didn't need to remove that one. It's just this one that had fallen back forward again. Just the way that one's held in, that sort of keeps the wire back a bit anyway. But yeah, I'll have to put a little bit extra filler across there once I knock it back a little bit. See, and same one, just have to try to dress that up. That will be pretty good. It'll need a little bit here and there. And the same on here. There's a few highs and lows, and I try to hammer this out a little bit through here. I had to pull whatever this venting system is for the fuel tank. Did that so I could kind of get in there and do a little bit of panel beating, just to try and even it out a little bit. It had a couple of real humps in it. So now that should be way better. And again, put a bit more in here. We'll have to put a little bit more in here and everything, but just getting some initial and try to get some shape into here. And I hammered this out because I actually had, when I held the the spoon across here, I could see that this had quite a low in it. So I hammered this out a little bit, and I hammered this back in a little bit, and I'm just put a wee more on there just to try and fill the little dark spots from after I sprayed some guide coat over it. And this was a bit high where I welded the patch in, so I hammered that back in a little bit and then run out with the roll locks, and then we'll just put another wee scooch of filler over it, so we'll better see whether that's still too high or not. But yeah, and the same in here, it's just a few weird sort of it's just kind of, I don't know if it's really, it's kind of, maybe it's got a wee bit out of shape when I've welded these in. It's probably maybe just put a wee bit of distort in there. So we're just trying to fix that. You know, you can see how much I've cut off here. But I don't want to be spending frickin' ass trying to get this back down to too much steel. Just trying to get it back down to a decent amount. Hopefully I'll pull that back down a bit for me. Trying to see what's going on there, is it? Yeah, it's almost like the paint isn't stuck very well there or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'll block the crap out of that and get that down a bit more. And it has almost had like a little wonky piece in here. Just put a little bit of filler in there. I haven't done much down here at all. We've got to be, once we sort of get this right, we'll drop down into that next piece. Just trying to get these top pieces right, and then once we start getting close with this, we'll start diving into these and clean up the bottom. I'll put a wee bit of filler in that other bottom piece yet, but I haven't knocked any of that down either. You would have seen that, so I've put a couple of smears in there just to, because the first time I put it in was no, I'm trying to remember. I put a little bit in there, was it last night? I can't remember. Or something like that, or it might have been this morning, and then I put another little lot over the top of it again when I did this side. Because I just didn't have a bugger all in there, if you know what I mean. Trying to get some shape in it. Anyway, so that's almost ready to sand, and this is ready to sand, so we'll rip this back a bit more, and we'll put another wee scrape through, and then it'll probably be lunchtime. Righty, so I've started knocking this all down. It's actually not too bad through here. It needs a little bit of skim, just in there. Just a couple wee low spots. I have to put in a wee bit more through here just to fill the blanks. And here, I need to feather it out back through here somewhere. But the rest of it's actually not too bad, I think. Might need a little bit more through here. Just I'll have to mist it and just see where it's below again. But the rest of it's actually looking pretty good. There's a bit of a low spot there. I might have to just smear a little bit down that back edge or something like that, or just block it a bit harder across the back. Try and blend it in a little bit better. But that mightn't disappear, you know what I mean? I haven't really gone back into here yet, but everything else, that looks not too bad, you know. I've kind of achieved what I needed to achieve out of it. I'm not too worried about here. It's not a bad. I might scrape a little bit in here too. I wasn't going to worry about it. It didn't feel that bad, but it has got a wee bit of a whoop in it. So I think just a wee scrape, I'll fill it through here. That'll just bleed that out too. You've got to use some sort of decent block. Don't, unless you're doing real roundy panels or something like that. But even then, like this will go around just to get good even shape. Like this will go around most things. I might flip that off. This will go around most things, if you know what I mean. And then like those acrylic blocks are really good too. But it's when you get into some of the real wonky curves that gets a wee bit difficult. But for anything like this, don't use short blocks. Use the longest block that you've got or can get hold of, if you know what I mean. Like if you're going to go buy some blocks, buy a block like this, buy a big long Dura block, whatever, because the difference between like this and what it was is huge. By the time I've sprayed this and give it a buff or whatever, depending on how the paint comes out at the end, and like obviously the day and temperature and me, but it'll be so much flatter, and just you better look down and it mightn't be perfect, but it won't be really wavy and weird and just all sorts of funny shit going on that is just all humpy and hollow, and like it doesn't take much. A decent block like that, you know, it's a half decent length. Now we're covering 90% of that, so when you're rubbing over top of it, you can see where the highs and lows are. A bit of a mist of some guide code or something, even just some some real fast dry black paint or whatever, just leave it for a few minutes, go around sand something else and then come back, give it a rub over it, and you'll see where the real low spots are, and sand it back until you see where this oxide is, like that's where the steel's underneath. So I know that, and here I'm down to basically steel, so I can't really take too much more off it, if you know what I mean. So I've got to put something in, or I've got to hammer these pieces down, or whatever. But yeah, so like just a bit more of a scrape through here, and whatever, and a few other spots, and pull this and pull this, you know, and it's only going to be like frig all thick. That just makes a massive difference at the end result, you know, for a bit extra effort. Yeah, as soon as you start using those short blocks, unless you've got somewhere where it's a short distance, if you know what I mean, like if you've got a little panel like this, and say this was a flat panel, and you're just using a little block like that, fine, because it's nice and short and it's keeping flat. But you use a short block over this, so what it does is it follows the humps and hollows, and then it starts exaggerating it. But if you're using a big block, the biggest, longest block you can get, within reason obviously, but the biggest, longest block that's available to you, and that's will fit and run over the panel nicely, and obviously go over the edges and whatever. If you're using that, you'll just pull all that high material off and show you what's left. And when you come up onto steel or close, you know, within that reason, you know to stop. And you've either got to hammer something around, hammer and dolly something, or if it's not bad low, scrape a body puller, block it out, get it ready for your high build, a few coats of high build, another block out, which will straighten it even more, because then you go into a finer grade, and then it's, you know, you're good, you know. It doesn't take a lot of extra, unless you're really chasing something that's really bad and being beaten up and you're really labor, then you might have to chase it a fair bit to get things to really start evening out. If you've got some really wonky panels and you've had to put a bit of body filler in, and you know, as long as it's solid and all metal, and you've got them as straight as you possibly can. You know, we're not all frickin' metal magicians, but you know, if you can get it as straight as you can, spend as much time on it as you can get it straight. If it's got some really oil canny things, see if you can find somebody that can give you a hand to teach you how to shrink, to get some of the real high spots out, and then yeah, frickin' pour some mud on it. As long as it's not, you know, don't coat it on that thick, or even, you know, like if you have to put like 1/4 of an inch of body filler on something, and then block it down to an 1/8 or 1/16, and you know there's a few spots that are going to be really deep, and well, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But at least it'll look decent. As long as it's not on there frickin' 1/2 an inch thick, or you know, 3/8 of an inch thick, or whatever, you're pretty good. You know, like this odd thing like this, you know, where it's not much I can do about it. Like, as much as I would like to rebuild that and reshape that and cut it all out, I don't want to spend the time on it to because the budget's just not there, if you know what I mean. But anyway, this will turn out really good by the time I'm finished. It'll be so much fucking better than it was. The guy will be blown away, I think. Welcome back to NZ Marko Outlaw Kustoms. I thought it was fucking near November, so that means in New Zealand and the bottom part of the world, the southern hemisphere, or whatever you want to fucking call it, it's meant to be coming into summer. Yeah, not this morning. There's like white shit all over the ground. Most of it's hail, but yeah, like it's like kind of like snowy hail. It was trying to snow before. It's like fucking cold. Look at the front of the car. Yeah, nice. Thank Christ I put some diesel in that fucking heater a while ago. So we'll close the door and crank the heater up. Actually, what is the temp? Let's flip that on. Oh, we'll turn the camera on. Right, the survey says it is 5 degrees C. What's that? Fahrenheit, I don't know. I'd have to work it out. But it'd be like 32 is freezing. So we're a little bit above freezing, but not a lot. And when the icy blasts come through, they are quite cold. Like when the sun comes out, like just right at the moment for a little bit, it's actually not bad. Like it's, yeah, the warmth gets here pretty quick, but I don't think it's going to stay for long. So we'll go. Close that, please. Turn the lights on. Crank the heater up, and we'll keep sanding. The bucket went for a ride. Righty, let's fire this bad boy up. Come on. Don't think we need it up to 20. We'll just set it about 14 or 15 degrees, that'll be alright. Right, we've got the heater on. Got the phone on the charge. Change the top. I'll use my nice warm jacket for sanding body fluid. Put the old random top on again. I seem to destroy them pretty quick. Grinding them welding doesn't do. The old sweatshirt material in face. Some of them are really thin too when you buy them, so they don't last long at all. Yeah, right. So the paint filters that you get for your mask, whether it's 3M or this is that Moldex brand or whatever, you can see on the front here what part number it is. You can get the one with the face shield as well. I actually might look into that, doing that as well. One of these days, you know, when I get a chance and I got a bit extra cash and get a full face one with this. It's basically the same thing, but it's got the lens that goes around. It'll just, when I get a new pair of glasses, it's going to save. I've actually bought myself a grinding mask to try and stop grinding sparks and shit getting on the glasses too, because I just destroy them when they're $600 or $700 a pop for a new set of glasses every time. I actually run them over the buffer every now and again, and they're not too bad, but they're getting a bit freaking bad to look through. But yeah, these filters, they only last about 8 to 10 hours spraying time, breathing time, and you've got to put them, when you're not using this, you've got to put them in a box. So what I've got is I've got the original box that these come in, and I leave my painting filters in them all the time. So if they're not on my face and I'm not wearing them painting, they're in that box, and you've got to have one of those sealed ones with the, you know, like the little click over things with a rubber seal. Because what they do is they'll keep cleaning the ear. Doesn't matter whether you're breathing through them or not. But as soon as that ear is clean in that box, it sounds weird, but they stop cleaning and they'll last. But if you just leave them on the bench, they might be brand new, and you think, oh yeah, they'll be fine. Next time you go to use them to do spraying 2-pack or whatever, yeah, they just won't work. All that shit will go into your lungs. All that it's the hardeners that are the real bad thing for you. Because what it does is it gets inside your lungs and it just glues your lungs up, and then you can't breathe properly. It's bad enough dust and dirt. Like I know sometimes I get lazy because I get fucking sick of wearing a mask, to be honest. And normally if I got the door open and it's a wee bit breezy or something like that, I don't panic quite so much because it should be, but you sort of get that, the drift sort of stays away from you a little bit. Or if I get a fan near me, like if it gets really hot and I grab the fan and I got it blowing and it's blowing the sort of the dust away, I tend not to wear a mask because I get sick of fucking wearing one. I know it's sort of stupid, but it's just, you know, it's just something you do. You know, you just after a while you just go, fucking, I just want to get this thing off. But if you're doing a lot of sanding, it can be not good. And I think I find that when you're doing the finer grade sanding too, that's when it really gets to you, the dust. So when you're using like coarse grits, it stays bigger and it sort of hangs and drops quicker, whereas the finer dust will float more. So when you're getting into like your 240s and your 400s and 600s and stuff like that, that's the advantage of doing wet sanding too, because you don't even have to wear a mask because there's no dust. But at this stage you can't do wet sanding. Yeah, these filters here only last 8 to 10 hours. Once they've done that, then I use them. I try to use my old ones for sanding. You know, when I'm doing just dirty work and whatever like that, just to keep the shit out of your lungs most of the time. You know what I mean? Give your lungs half a chance to stay clear. Anyway, we'll throw these on and we'll see if we can get this frickin' side to straighten out. Holy crap, it's trying to fucking snow again. It's like, it's barely like that. You can just see these like odd little white flake just floating in the air. It's fucking not warm for, like it's the 27th or 28th of October, whatever it is. Yeah, like, see like there's fucking blossoms on the trees out here. And it is cold as fuck. Crazy. But shouldn't have to have the heater on this time of year. Like occasionally, but whew, she's cold. Alright, we'll keep sanding. Right, so this is a real telltale, the difference between a Durablock, same size basically, is what I'm using. That's a little bit longer, but the difference between even just using this paper, which is a Velcro back, but just holding it over the block and running it over here, you can see that dark spot. That's a ripple, you know. If you're getting really, really fussy, these acrylic blocks like that there, it's quite flexible, but it stays pretty flat. But that was sanding off before, and like obviously I've guide coated it, well, etched it, but I'm just using it as guide coat, like it's just rattle can etch. It's good because you can just put whatever it doesn't over product over top, it doesn't matter, you don't get it all off. But yeah, like it just shows there's still a faint low spot there. Yeah, obviously like high build, and blocking back with the acrylic blocks will take that out. But it just shows, like, if you did that all with the Durablock, if you did your finishing work with the Durablock, you know, it's not gonna be flat. You know what I mean? It'll be flat and it'll be nice, and most people won't know, but the difference between this and that is huge. Like it is like like you would be standing back at a car and go, oh, it's a pretty tidy, nice, clean car, you know, it's pretty straight. But when you do it with acrylic block and you stand there and go, whoa, that thing is fucking straight. That's the difference. You know, it's like walking past and think, fuck, that's a pretty clean car. That's pretty good. That's pretty straight. It's fucking nice paint job. And then you walk past the next one and it's been like blocked out with acrylic blocks and fucking just, you know, primed and blocked and primed and blocked and primed and blocked, and you go, whoa, now that is fucking straight. That's the difference when using the acrylic blocks, you know, and that shows it. That shows it. Like, you know, there's obviously just a bit of a, it's only just gentle, like it's not worth worrying about, but at this point, if you know what I mean. But yeah, if you come back to your final primer and you've been blocked it all out with that, and then you think, oh, I'll try and over it with acrylic block just to see, and yeah, that's the sort of shit you'll see. It'll just be everywhere. They don't, acrylic blocks don't lie. You know, that's probably one of the best tricks that people have come up with, like in the last, like, I don't know how long people have been using acrylic blocks for this sort of style of thing, but it's something I've only found out about in the last probably 4 or 5 years, I guess. I'll zoom you out a wee bit. Yeah, it's something I've only come across in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and I made these when I sort of started making these when I was doing the Studi, and like I've come to realise I need to use them more and more for that final product and blocking out. You know, I'm trying to get my body work better and flatter and straighter too. Like, I'm definitely not the best, but I'm finding the more I use them and the more I use guide coat, like I'm teaching myself, you know, I'm finding out what the difference between like each paint job, you know, working out what I need to do a little bit different to get a better and better and better result. So yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, like if you can get a better and better and better result, you can charge people a bit more, because you can say, well, fuck, here's the last one, here's the one before that one, here's the one before that. Look at them, they're like glass, you know. Whereas if you go down to Johnny down the road, you know, you'll get a nice paint job and it'll be pretty straight and flat, but you know, here's his work, here's mine, you know. That's kind of the difference. So yeah, even at this stage, you know, if you use them more even for this, you know, once you sort of you think you're pretty dialed in, run over it even before you prime. You know, if you've got plenty of product still left on, like I'm getting low because I'm getting some big patches on here which I don't really like, but that's me trying to get this right, so I might have to creep that in, but we'll pull it back with primer. We might just have to prime this guard an extra couple of times just to get past the bare metal, if you know what I mean. So we're not pulling back to that quite so quick, but get a wee bit more build on there. But it just shows, you know, how much different level was, and that shows perfectly because it's the grey. It's just not flat there yet. Like I can block that out, but I've got to be careful I don't pull it down too much and then really pull these into highs, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you got to keep finessing with it. Really, I might have to put the next little bit of glazing putty out here a little bit further to blend that in a little bit, because it's got a bit of an edge there. It's not that bad, but you'll feel that and you'll see that if I don't feather it out a little bit further, and I might even have to feather this out a little bit further, but I don't think that's too much of an issue. It'll come out with body with high build. But it just shows you incredible how much those things will just show up, that the Durablock and